Hello and welcome to Diniz Farms. We're back with another episode of Mercer County. And last time here we left off, we'd finished our first field of corn. And so now we're jumping right back into things here, tackling our second and final field of corn. And so we've had the tillage tool going here for just a little bit. He's well ahead of us now. And so what we're going to do is take the headland pass off over here, just to give us enough room to work around by these trees, so that we can turn around without running into them. The workers are always getting into a little bit of trouble here. And so we're just going to take 2 passes off here. 12 rows should be, or I guess it'd be 24 rows, should be more than enough for us to turn around here. And then we're going to get probably a worker started going on the up and down rows after we take some headlands off on the other end of the field here. And that's just going to let us have a little bit of freedom to go get some fertilizer in the seed tender. We do need to put some more dry fertilizer here into this planter. We're going through it pretty quick here because these fields are in a pretty sorry state when it comes to nitrogen. But we are going to follow this guy all the way up to the end row here so that we can tackle that. And it does look like our tillage tool is well ahead of us, so I'm not too worried about catching up with him at this point. I'm very confident that he's going to wrap up this field long before we get over there. I've been really enjoying this map so far. This is a nice little farm. I know that this is mostly an animal farm for most people, but I was very happy to find just a small arable farm here in the corner of the map. This 7830 is doing a great job on the planter here. We haven't had any problems whatsoever with being able to pull this planter. And just before the episode, I was looking at the planting calendar here, and while we're putting in our corn right now, I'm looking at this thinking maybe we'll run some winter wheat somewhere here, depending on how our harvest goes. It would be fun to try that out, and I noticed that that's something that's been included with the geo on this map. And I'm just looking at what we're going to do. Actually, it looks like we might have enough of a grass headland here. I think that the worker's going to do a decent enough job of turning around on the headland up here. And so we're going to try and line up here and get a worker going on the planting here, I believe. We might overlap just a smidge here. Looks like about a row, but I'd rather overlap just a little bit because we were driving manually here down this field, and there might be a couple of small little crooked spots. If we pop the HUD back on here, we can see that we're already down to 59% of our fertilizer usage. And so we definitely need to get going on bringing some fertilizer back up to the farm. And so we're going to grab our truck in the seed tender here. Now, we'd thought about potentially just clearing this seed out. However, several of you have suggested that I hang on to them and put this seed into the drill. And so we don't have another tractor right now. I don't believe that we can hook up to the drill to get it out of the shed and opened up. I think that we'd kind of struggle to use the big 9000 series to do that. So we're gonna just hold on to these seeds for a minute. We're going to run all the way up here and just get a half load of fertilizer real quick with what we've got. I should have probably dumped the little bit that's in there into the planter before we head over here, but honestly the co-op's so close that I think we can afford to just make a trip up there for almost half a load, I guess. It sounds less and less efficient the more I say it out loud, but we'll give it a shot. This truck gets just a little bit wobbly at higher speeds, but much like everything in Farm Sim, I have a tendency to go just a little bit faster than you would normally. And by a little bit, I mean, you know, probably 4 to 10 times faster than you do a lot of things. And so we've got seed, we've got fertilizer, and this is lime. This is not what we want. My bad. We did so much lime earlier in the season here that I'm on autopilot. I think the solid fertilizer was in here. Here we go. Everybody at the co-op's laughing at us. And we're gonna swing a little bit wide here and see if we can get this lined up just a smidge better this time. There's only so much we can do with how it's laid out. And there we go. We're all topped off. So let's get back up here and see if we can get back out to the field and hopefully catch our planter on our end of the field, the road end of the field here, and get it filled up. That would be convenient. I can see our tillage is still going from over here. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see the planter quite from this far away. But as we get up here past this line of trees, we should be able to see where it's at. It looks like it's coming back down to this end. And so that's hopefully going to be super convenient for us. We're going to be able to swing around here real quick and be lined up just in time for him to get to the end row all turned around. Couldn't have asked for better timing. And he is smart enough to not drive on the road, which is pretty convenient. I should say she is. And so we're going to just pull slightly forward here. We're going to open up both of those. And it looks like we're all set on fertilizer. I'm not overly worried about our seed at this point, since we're definitely ripping through the fertilizer a lot faster than our seed. In fact, we've only used 5% since we got started here. So we're going to go ahead and get started again here while these covers close, because these covers are going to close for a long time here. Alright, we've knocked out a handful of rounds here, and we're running low on fertilizer once again. Luckily, we've got quite a bit here in the pickup, so we're going to go ahead and finish out this row, get turned around, and top off our fertilizer again here. And then we'll jump over and check on our tillage guy here. He's really been cranking through the acres, and so thankfully this is going to be a quick field for us. Things are going really well here. We haven't really had any problems to speak of today, which is just how you like it to go. So we're going to go ahead and just set this down and get our covers opened up and jump right into the truck here. I expect we're going to be able to just top this fertilizer off. Hopefully we can get lined up on the first pass here. Am I on the right setting is the question. I am. Alright, we're all filled up. Let's go ahead and get this planter moving again. It looks like we can do, what is that, 2 full passes since we filled up last time? So we should be able to get right back up here at an appropriate time to refill one more time. I think we've got at least one more refill into the seed tender. Looks like it probably 2 more refills, so that's a pretty good spot to be in. Let's check on the tillage down here and see how our 80-30 is doing. 85-30, I should say. He did not like us getting in the way. Looks like we've got 1 full round left and we'll be all done with the tillage down here on this end. This implement doesn't quite lower all the way, and so we've got these little bits that we're missing here and there right now. You can see that the knives are just skimming the ground behind the tractor. And so that's something I'm looking into offline. I just didn't get a chance to finish digging into that before this episode. And so hopefully I can get that sorted out for next episode, because I think we are going to have a bit more tillage. Maybe we're going to run this on the worker. We're almost done here. We might as well get this started off on one of these next fields while we finish planting our corn here. Even though I'm not sure we're going to quite be ready to plant. If we look here, planting season for the short season soybeans, which is what I want to give a shot, doesn't start until we get into the 1st or 2nd day of summer here. Possibly even later, depending on how warm it is, although it's looking like it's going to be pretty warm here with this geo, so I'm not too worried about temperature right now. But the bottom line is we're still, several days away from needing to get started on our soybeans, so we got plenty of time to get some tillage done and do some different things. And so I think we are going to hop over there and just get started on the tillage that we need to do. And then we'll look into this. We'll see how far we get on tillage today, and then maybe look into seeing if we can figure out if this is the tractor or possibly the implement itself that's having some issues here. I'm wondering if it's this 3-point that's not going all the way down. I'm just really not sure, because I know I've used this mod in the past without having any issues. And so this is something that bears investigating. I love this mod, and I do appreciate the comments that I've gotten over the last few days. I've been pronouncing the name of this implement wrong, and I believe it's Unverferth, not Unverferth, I think is how I was pronouncing it incorrectly before. And so I noticed that during editing I had the screen paused on the brand name, and it was like, oh, there's an extra R in there, I'm messing this up. And so we're going to try and get that right moving forward. But, you know, as I look at this implement, like, I just love this implement. I love all the moving parts. I like that the baskets move up and down kind of independently of the knives in the front and the cutting discs and stuff. And so the wings kind of bend and bow to the ground here. So it's a really cool implement, and I could see myself using it a lot more. But I do need to figure out how to get it to go just a little bit further down in the ground there. I think it looks great on this tractor combination though, with the front weights and everything. Like, I think it's sized appropriately with the equipment, so it just feels like a really good combo to me. And so we are gonna fold it up here and then head on back over here to, I think, the field that we've got over on the other side of our driveway is going to be a good place to start this off on tillage. And I can see that we've got the pickup truck here in the way, so the planter can't quite finish its row, which is unfortunate. So we're going to just pull over here and move this truck out of the way real quick so that we can keep the planter moving. And I'm just going to hop in here with him real quick, check. We're at 54%. Perfect. He's got another round in him. And that'll give us just enough time to get this over onto the other side of the driveway and hopefully start off on a little bit of tillage. We got 2 fields left. I think we are going to run soybeans in at least one of these 2 fields, if not both of them. We're going to see. I did want to potentially run some wheat in one of them. I'm not sure yet. Like I said, we might do some winter wheat, so I might hold off and do the wheat afterwards. And so we might just do soybeans in 2 of these fields and use the soybeans to kind of help us build up our nitrogen a little bit, because right now we're spending a small fortune putting nitrogen into these other 2 fields for our corn. And so it would be nice to utilize the natural mechanics of planting soybeans to raise our nitrogen levels. And I think that we can get away with a single headland pass on this end. This guy turns around pretty fast in my experience. And then seeing that the planter hasn't quite made it to the end yet, I think we are gonna run this guy down the length of the field, since we do go just a little bit faster than the planter, I think. And so I should be able to get down there and knock that headland off real quick before the planter is able to make its way all the way back up to the road and need to be refilled. Looks like our planter's already turned around and heading back up, so we're gonna have to make quick work of this here. I don't want to miss him on the other end of the field there for sure. Always a pain to redirect the worker after he's started down a different direction, get him started back on the same lines, etc., etc. So we're gonna just try to be a little bit speedy here. I think we are gonna take 2 headland passes off on this end though, just to make sure we're staying out of the trees. We're so far in the trees I can't even see where to line up here. I guess it doesn't need to be perfect. We've got just a little bit of overlap, so that's okay. And we're pulling really hard on something there, hitting 3-4 miles an hour for a few seconds. Not sure what that was about, but we sorted it out quickly, it looks like. And so it looks like our other tractor is getting to the end of the field there, so we're gonna drop this down and send him back up the length of the field and go grab our planter tractor here and just make sure that we're able to stop and refill our fertilizer. Alright, let's see if we got the covers open the appropriate way on the first shot this time. Oh, we're just a little bit too close, but close enough for Farm Sim, I guess. And then I'm going to go ahead and just back this up this time, make sure that we're not in the way. Get our covers closing. We're definitely not going to need any more seed to finish this field. We're at 86%. Doing pretty good here. I'd say we're about halfway done with this field. Since we did the long rows, we got a few more rounds here on the shorter rows, but not many. And it looks like our tillage is going really well over there. Getting a little bit of strip till done, getting it ready for planting. I think we took a look at this earlier, but this is triticale that's over there. Actually, I'm saying that wrong. It's triticale, I think, over there. And we're gonna take a quick look at our season's rotation. It looks like it rotates well with soybeans. And so I think the plan was to put soybeans over there since we're doing corn in both of these big fields. And then if we look at our other field here, it didn't have a crop type, so that would indicate that it lie fallow the previous year, so we can pretty much put whatever we want over there. And so I think we're gonna put soybeans in both of those fields, just because soybeans tend to be the higher paid crop here, and so we want to make a few extra dollars per acre on the land that we have available to us. And also, like I was saying before, the added nitrogen boost to the soil is going to come in really handy, given that we're starting off in a pretty poor state from a nitrogen perspective. So we're going to let this guy run. I'm going to jump over here real quick. We're going to take a quick look at our tillage. We've made a full round here, it looks like. Doing pretty good. We've got this round plus probably one more, so 2 full rounds left to do over in this field. And we'll be done with tillage here. Now, we did plow this field back here, field 25. I think we probably need to run through it again with something like this to just get it smoothed out where we're going to be planting. And so I think that we're gonna tackle that field here with this implement as well before we get the planter over there. So I think this 8530 is just gonna continue working hard here the whole planting season. Alright, so we are done with the normal rows here on our field. We've got just a little partial row left to till up here, and I think we missed our planter turnaround for the dry fertilizer. I was busy capturing some cool shots of the tractors in the field and have completely forgotten about refilling our fertilizer. And so hopefully we're on our way back up and I didn't miss it, but I really think we probably did, and we're gonna run out of fertilizer here any second. So we're gonna just wrap up this row here real quick, and I think we're just gonna leave this thing sitting here. We'll get it all folded up, and it does look like we ran out of fertilizer like I expected here. I don't really want to drive the planter all the way up there, so I think we are gonna just get the seed tanks opening, and we're gonna drive the truck down to the planter in this case. I think with the fertilizer being mostly gone here, we're not too heavy to get down here. And we're just gonna load up the planter with the fertilizer that we've got and then kind of assess the situation. We might need to get a little bit more fertilizer going here. I think we'll have just a little bit left in here. Let's turn our HUD on. We got 12% left in the seed tender. So we're gonna just move this down here onto the headland to get him out of the way, and then we'll get that planter going again. So I'm just gonna leave the truck over here out of the way, and we'll definitely be topping this guy off one more time here before we head back up to the co-op. We are gonna need probably just a little bit more fertilizer here to finish this off though. Unfortunately, I was kind of hoping we could get by with what we have. But looking at it, this is gonna finish up 2 passes from here, or 2 rounds from here. And so if we look here, this being 1 round, or the start of 1 round, we're not gonna get done with what we have, I don't think. That's my bet. So we're gonna let the planter go here for a little bit. I'm gonna jump over here and grab the 8530, and we're gonna send this 8530 back to the corner of the yard here where we've got the entrance to field 25, and we're gonna go ahead and get going on our last little bit of seedbed prep here, and this will be a good job for him to do in the background. All right, let's do the headland here just because it's gonna make our workers' life a little bit easier, and I don't want to risk him skipping over this grass area and doing anything funky in the field here that we've just got done planting. That would be very unfortunate, but I do think 1 headland pass is gonna suffice. And then if we just follow this field edge down, I think we can probably do 1 quote-unquote headland pass here along the bushes on the back side of this field, and then get the worker started off. Now I am getting a little bit crooked here. We're gonna correct that just a smidge. No sense having half of the implement running off into the grass. So I think we are going to run this other side of the field up here, just because then we can kind of kick a worker off and not have to worry about it no matter which way we're going. So I'll probably do this, and I'll probably do the tree line on the side that we're facing here as well, just to open up all of our options. And that way we could start a worker off and then switch the worker's directions once we get going a little bit here probably. I think the plan is going to be, though, to run this tree line off and then start the worker going in our north-south directions here. The way we're going right now, I think, is going to be the most convenient. Work our way towards the farm from the back fence line here. Now, due to farm sim mechanics, I am kind of treating this like a more conventional tillage tool. Realistically, we'd be using this on the existing rows that we plan to plant into. It's kind of a minimal tillage tool, I guess you would call it, where you're just doing some tillage right where the planter's going to run and nowhere else. And so I think what we're going to do is just get lined up here. Our implement drops like molasses though, so we're going to get lined up here now again. And I'm just going to start this worker off. I think he's going to be fine to tackle these rows for a little bit, and I want to jump back over to our planter, kind of take a look at where we're at. We're at 48% fertilizer, which means once we get down here to the end and turn back around, it's probably the right time to top things off. And here we are, only at what, 30% here. That's okay. We'll just go ahead and get spun into our row here real quick. This was easier before I got out of my GPS track. It's something right about like that. Looks like it's gonna work. So we'll just get those covers opening, and jump into our truck here and top it off with what we've got. I don't think this is going to fill it up, but it should be enough to keep us going for a little bit while I run back up to the co-op yet again for one more run, one more load. If I could ever get lined up on the first time, that would be amazing. It looks like we're all topped off here. We actually got 82% out of that, which was more than I expected. Alright, our boxes are just about closed here, so let's get this worker going. He's gonna be able to make 2 full rounds. We're gonna come up like 1 pass short of enough fertilizer here, which is gonna be ultra frustrating. But I do think I'm gonna wait just a little bit. It looks like we're gonna have just a sliver left over there that we're gonna have to pick up after we turn around here, which is okay. And then I'll be able to get him going on the east-west rows here right afterwards. They'll be fairly short rows, but we should be able to make quick work of them. And I'm really hoping that our planter comes out closer to the end of that field than I anticipate. I'd really hate to run up to the co-op and have to get too much fertilizer. I want to get just enough to really top that planter off, or not even top it off. I mean, we're going to need to make 1 pass, so I'm going to need like, 20% or something of the planter to finish off that field. And so it's going to be almost a shame to go up there to the co-op and try and buy anything, because we're going to need so little to top it off. And so I'm actually kind of surprised we were able to get this far ahead on tillage. I kind of figured we'd always be working in the same field, or in a best case scenario 1 field ahead. To get 2 full fields ahead of the planter is quite an impressive feat. I think part of that is that we were messing around with this, and the planter did sit idle a couple of times when we needed to be refilled. And just refill times in general take a lot of productivity out of the planter. We're sitting on the end rows putting seed and fertilizer into things, so definitely something that I don't consider mentally when I'm calculating these things, or at least not fully consider just how much time you spend, or how much downtime you have to get things filled up and moved around. And so now I'm wondering if maybe we'll put the drill onto the 8530 here. That would maybe be a little bit of overkill, but also at the same time, it's a tractor that we have open now, and so I could go ahead and get that set up and get it filled up and all that good stuff while we're still finishing off the corn planting here. Although honestly, we've only got a few more passes of corn, so maybe I should just wait. I feel like this tractor is probably overkill for that drill. If we come in here real quick into our garage, we can actually look at the stats on this drill. The drill requires 125 horse. This is 205, this is 350. So I don't know that we want to put so much overkill onto that drill. I think maybe we should just go with the 7830 after all, and give the 8530 a little bit of rest here. It's going to have quite a bit of work for it ahead in the fall when we start running grain carts and doing more tillage and all that good stuff. Although honestly, for the corn ground, we'll probably be running the 9320 with that Landau plow out in the 2 cornfields. And so most of our tillage is going to get done that way. And I also think in the fall here, we're going to talk to the co-op about getting some anhydrous ammonia put into the ground to help out with our nitrogen in those cornfields. The corn is definitely going to need a lot of nitrogen. And so, we're putting soybeans into these fields right now, but the corn is going to go into these last 2 fields that we've been working on for tillage here. And we're going to want to put a little bit of extra nitrogen in the ground to get that ready for the corn. And so I think these 2 fields are actually going to be really good candidates for some anhydrous. And so I think we're going to give that a shot. come fall here. I know you could probably put some of that on in the spring, especially as far south as Ohio, which is where this map is based. Most of my farming experience comes from the Minnesota area, where it was cold enough, I think, to put the anhydrous in the ground before the frost, and it would keep in the ground a little bit better, where a lot of times you're putting it on in the spring, right before you're gonna come and hit that with a planter, I think. So, or within a certain time frame, not right before, because you don't want to burn the crops either. But there's definitely some different practices there. And so I would be curious. I know there's several people that are watching this series that are actually from the Mercer, Ohio area. And so if you are from that area, I'd love to hear from you as far as what time of year you're seeing farmers put anhydrous into the ground on their fields. Is it, in the fall? Is it in the spring? Is it a mix of both, depending on the situation? Would love to hear from you in the comments below. And I can see our planter still chugging away there. This should be his last round. He should run out somewhere shortly around the time he gets back down to this end. And so I'm kind of keeping an eye out to see the message that he's stopped working. But in the meantime, we're on our last little bit here on this particular field. So we're going to be able to get this implement run back up into the yard. And we need to put this in the shed. We still haven't bought a pressure washer though. So I think that's actually next on the agenda here. We mentioned that last time. We've got just a little bit of money, so let's go to placeables, miscellaneous. Here we go. Pressure washer. I think what we're gonna do, I can't place it on the actual pad. Oh, that's unfortunate. I should have installed the mod that lets me do reasonable things. Either way, I think we'll put it maybe right here on this corner. And so I turned it a little bit here. It's not gonna let me get it close enough to the building that I want. Can I put it right over here? There's just a little bit of a buffer around this building that's gonna drive me nuts. Let's see what my options are. Oh, maybe we'll put it here. If I can get it right here on this corner, I think this is gonna be a good spot for it. We're gonna put it right there. Perfect, right on the corner, so I can run into it every time I come around this corner. It's gonna be epic. However, it's also gonna be pretty convenient here because this is a good throughway for our equipment, so we can easily wash stuff right here by the edge of the shop and then get it put away pretty quickly. Looking so much better. Godly, this one is just for you. I know it killed you at the end of the live stream the other day when I just put all that dirty equipment back in the shed, so we're gonna make sure it's all spick and span, nice and clean, just for you there, bud. Well, let's get this folded up here, and we're gonna put it right back over here in this larger shed. And I'm pretty sure that our planter is stopped over here, and I just missed the message while I was busy spraying off our beautiful equipment here. And so I think what we're gonna do, I'm actually gonna put it on the other side of the shed than where we had it before, just so that I can get easy access to this cedar and not have to worry about it. So let's lower this guy down. Disconnected. There we go. And we're gonna bring this 8530 right back up into the shop, I think. We're just gonna park it right in this door, I think, for the time being. I'm not really sure what we're doing with the rest of our equipment, so this seems to be the best spot for it. And then I'm coming over here. Look at this, less than a pass, half of a pass, no fertilizer. Well, I think we're just gonna go for it. I don't think we're gonna run all the way back up to the co-op just to get less than a full pass. Not even a full planter width, half a pass, so we're gonna get some terrible yields here on the last row of this field, but it is what it is. And there we go. And that is going to wrap up our corn planting. We're going to go ahead and fold this stack fold planter up here and run it back up to the farm. It is quite dirty, so this is going to need a wash as well. I think this is a good spot to wrap up the episode. We are all done with corn planting. We're all done with our spring seedbed prep. And so next episode will be jumping ahead in the time a little bit here until it's appropriate for getting our soybeans in the ground. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, think about subscribing for more daily farm sim content. That's all for today. Kedrick, out. Too heavy? Whoa. We're gonna skid all over the place. Whoa. Come on. However, it's also going to... Oh my goodness, we crashed into the shed.